Hello, this video is designed to help you fill out the notes over argument or argumentative writing. And if you are learning this online, you'll be filling this out electronically. You might have a paper copy of these notes. Either way, you're going to get the answers. Before we start with the notes, I want to scroll down to the next page because it just kind of has some thinking questions to bring up what you are already thinking when you think of the word argument. The first question is, you can only make an argument about something if you feel very strongly about it. In your mind, think, is that true or false? You can only make an argument about something if you feel very strongly about it. If you answered false, you would be correct. And you also might have a sibling that sometimes you pick a fight with, even over an issue that you don't even believe is true. You can actually be very convincing even though you don't think something or you don't have that opinion. Here's the next question. Persuasive writing is meant to convince someone that something is true. How would you answer that? True or false? Think in your mind. Persuasive writing is meant to convince someone that something is true. That is true. When you're trying to persuade somebody of something, you want to be very convincing. Next, all arguments are equally strong. How would you answer that? All arguments are equally strong. That would be false. Some people are able to make stronger arguments or stronger cases, and that happens all the time in court. Number 4, an argument is a statement that one believes to be true. An argument is a statement that one believes to be true. Is that true or false? That actually is true. So in other words, if no reasonable person believes something to be true, it is not really an argument at all. And I remember when my kids were little, they used to bug each other. One would say the sky is green, and after that, a fight would ensue. That's just picking a fight. That's not really an argument. The sky is not green. It is blue. So there's not really any evidence or anything that somebody has to believe it to be true to be an argument. Next is, there is a right and wrong side to every argument. Do you think that is true or false? There is a right and wrong side to every argument. Is that true or false? The answer is false. And what makes it an argument is that if the two sides, reasonable people believe them to be true, it's typically just different perspectives. So what we are going to do is we are going to come up here to fill out these notes. So the first question is, how would you define and or describe the word argument? Think about it. What does it sound like? What does it look like? Is an argument different depending on the person and or environment you're in? Type your thinking or your response in the box below. I'm going to invite you to go ahead and pause this video and do this. Okay, so you should have already typed your answer here. And now we're going to talk about the official academic term of argument. The first term that I want you to have here is the word claim. Claim, C-L-A-I-M. This is a statement that someone believes is true or should be true. For example, some people might think dogs are better pets than cats. Not everybody agrees with that. Snow days should become at-home work days. I'm sure you all have an opinion about that as well. There's not really a right or wrong answer. You can argue both sides of this. They call that a claim. Next term is a counterclaim, or some people use the word objection. This is going to be the opposite point of view. What would somebody else think? Some people might think cats make better pets than dogs. Or snow day should be kept as is, a day off for teacher and students. I guess that's going to change this year for us. Now here are some truths about arguments. Arguments can be very calm. Calm is the word that goes in here. Argument research and writing is actually silent. Some people think an argument has to be very loud and boisterous, and that's not true. In fact, I would argue that it's not convincing if it's very loud and there are emotions flying. Argument actually, believe it or not, has nothing to do with how you feel. Now, you might think that's impossible. How can you argue something that you don't feel strongly about? Because it's kind of something in your mind. You know, you were trying to be convincing, and if emotions get too high, your brain actually cannot consider arguments as well, or you cannot make arguments as well as you can if you are calm. So it is a kind of an exercise of the brain. Next, most of the time, two sides of an argument are just different points of view. We all come from different backgrounds and different experiences. And as long as a reasonable person could argue at the other side, it's pretty much a point of view. And again, if a reasonable person cannot argue the other side, then it is just a fight or a ridiculous conversation. Neither side is really right or wrong. It's important to know how to argue effectively when you want to persuade someone. When you want to persuade. Oops. I said one of something. This is especially important if you are talking to your parents, and let's say that you want to convince them to buy something or to unground you or to allow you to have a friend over. If you want to be persuasive, you have to be very good at the art of arguing. Arguments need support, such as reasons or evidence. If you just say, I want to invite my friend over just because, you're not going to be very persuasive. If you give them good reasons and support, then you're going to be much more persuasive. Not all support is equally strong. Not all support is equally strong. Some ideas are weaker than others. Using strong supporting evidence makes your argument stronger. So if you said, I want to have a friend over because everybody else is having friends over, that's not a very, it's a reason, but it's not a strong reason. If you said, because my friend is really going through a hard time and she really needs someone to feel supported, to support her, then you have much stronger evidence. This part I filled out for you electronically because the formatting was tough, but if you are going to be writing an argument, there's going to be three big parts: the introduction, the main body, and the conclusion. Of course, in the introduction, you're going to want to have a hook to draw your reader in. You're going to want to give a little bit of background and then say a claim statement. The main body is going to have the main argument, which includes the thesis or the claim, and some reasons and evidence. You're going to address the counter argument or the objection. Some people think that's not a good idea, but actually people who disagree with you are already thinking about things like that what's going to be the argument against what you're saying. And so it's a good idea to bring up especially a strong reason. And then lastly, the rebuttal. The rebuttal is the answer to the objection. So if you say something like, dogs are better pets than cats, or I should have a friend over, this is where you give the examples of your friend is going through a hard time and needs support. You will both wear masks if it's this year during a pandemic. It will be a limited visit. Maybe you'll be outside, all those things. Now, if the counter argument is that your parents don't want you to because you were supposed to have cleaned your room, the rebuttal would be that you will clean your room before your friend comes over. It's got to directly address the counter argument or the objection. So there you have it. Those are the notes. Those are the main parts, and we will be using these terms to help you practice them, and we will actually be creating an argument. I hope you understand, and this helps you fill out your argument notes.